may I submit to you that it's not every woman you must marry, and it's not every man you must marry. There are some women, when you marry them, you will never fulfill your ministry and your destiny in life. And there are some men, if you marry them, they will frustrate the will of God for your life, and you never fulfill your purpose in life. You will marry but not married. You'll be in a relationship and you still be looking outside of the relationship because you missed it. And so Jacob married. He worked for 7 years. Hard labor. 7 years for the woman of his love. 7 years for the man you care about. And the man that has everything you require, he has the chemistry to turn you on and to give you psychological and emotional fulfillment and satisfaction. And after doing everything that it requires to have that man, to have that woman, somebody, by a law that you were ignorant of, made a swapping. And so on the day of the marriage, it was in the evening. And they had covered her face in the Middle East in those days with a dark veil. So number one, there was a law he was ignorant of, which was a technicality and a legality. His father-in-law was a type of Satan who understood that Jacob was ignorant of that technicality and legality, and therefore decided after the 7 years of having worked hard to have the man and the woman he deserved, to manipulate what he deserved the most. So there was an exchange. Somebody say a demonic exchange. The enemy is very good at that. He can set you up for you to end up with somebody you shouldn't be with, only to frustrate the will of God for your life, so that all your life, cat and dogs, strife and fighting, conflict and misunderstanding, always fighting, never know peace. And he married Leah, who he never bargained for, did not know, and did not want. Is it possible you can marry someone you don't know? Yes. Yes, you can. He was veiled, and I believe he was drunk, because Lot's 2 daughters got their father drunk. And the first daughter slept with the father. She got pregnant. Then he said to the second daughter, go in, do the same thing I did. And the father was drunk, slept with his second daughter. They all got pregnant. And that is where the Moabites came from, out of incest, the Moabites, for another day. But let me move on. And so Jacob slept with Leah the whole night, all night long, and didn't know that it wasn't Rachel, that it was Leah. Can you sleep with somebody and not know who the person is? Yes. He was drunk. He was under the influence of alcohol. Because there's no way that Jacob can tell me that after 7 years of seeing Rachel every day, knowing her voice, living with her in the same house, that she could sleep with Leah that whole night and not know that it wasn't Rachel but it was Leah. It was because he was drunk. And in the morning, when the alcohol was broken and lifted, the influence had gone, he woke up to the reality. And he said, hey, this is not what I bargained for. This is not what I worked for. So he went to the father-in-law and said, why have you done this to me? Why did you manipulate this whole thing? Why? Why did you switch this thing? And the father-in-law said, I'm sorry, young man. You are very ignorant. For there is a law. There is a decree in this nation and in this family that prohibits the fact that the youngest to marry whilst the elder is not married. I'm sorry, I can't help you. If you still want Rachel, who you have worked 7 years for, then you have to work another 7 years again to bring it to 14 before you can have Rachel. You must endure. So Jacob was married in the tent with a woman and a man he shouldn't be with. For 7 years he endured. And whilst he was married, he was still seeing the woman and the man he loves. Covetousness. Having the lust and the desire for someone else because you are not with whom you are supposed to be with. So there is a dissatisfaction and the lack of fulfillment and synergy. The lack of synergy. The lack of alignment. The lack of understanding and clarity. It's always conflict and fight. You don't understand each other. This one says that and that one says that. And there's a spirit of Babel. Your language is confused that you can't understand each other. But let me move on. That was a technicality. It was a decree and a legality in the background of the house he went to marry in. Have you investigated? Have you checked the records of the family you are getting into? Have you investigated the bloodline of the man you are in love with, of the woman you are in love with? Or you just saw her and saw him and you are in love without knowing the background? Because that woman came from somewhere and that man came from somewhere. And you got to investigate the bloodline. You got to check the bloodline. You must understand what goes on. You have to know the records of that family, of what happens to the men of that house and the women of that house before you say I do and before you get yourself involved. Because you are not just marrying that man and that woman. You are also going to deal with the background and the rules there and the technicality and the legalities and the covenants and the decrees in that bloodline. You must know it so you can counter them before you say I do. Put your hands together and give God. Our next scripture. Hallelujah. Where are we, Bishop?
Ezra.
Go to Ezra 4:15. Ezra 4:15.
But a search may be made in the book of the records of your fathers.
What?
A search.
What?
A search.
Investigation. Tell somebody, investigate. Don't just see a man because he looks good, he smells good, he says the right thing, he's very sensitive. And he told you the other day, that girl, from the first day I saw you, I can't eat anymore. I've lost my appetite. All I have to do is to think about you and I'm satisfied. I see food and I don't feel anything. I've lost my appetite to eat. You satisfy me. Just the thought of you does something to me. I can't even sleep. I'm suffering from insomnia. No sleeping pills is working. I only sleep when I think of you. Then deep sleeps come upon me. And you're falling for it. Investigate. Don't just fall for his words. And don't fall for her beauty. For the Bible says beauty is vain and charm is deceitful. But a woman of character shall be praised. Today, women are working on themselves on the outside and doing nothing about the inside. The inside is character. The inside is the right kind of attitude. And men are doing the same thing. Good haircut, but bad character. Good haircut, smells good, nice perfume, but have no temperance, are not gentle, are not kind, selfish, greedy, don't know how to bless a woman, don't know how to give a woman money, stingy. If you are that kind of a man, the women will curse you. And there are men like that. They are mean like mean and cold like cold. Cold like cold water and ice water. If you are that kind of a man, you never have a good woman. It doesn't matter how much you marry. Because all women may not be the same, but are the same in a way anyway. Women like kindness and they fall for love and affection. It's like dog. When you show a dog love, the dog always comes around you. It's the same thing with women. When you are kind and you are loving and you are gentle and you are nice and you are sensitive to their needs, you give them before they ask. You are always thinking about them. They fall for you. All right, let me go ahead. Let me go on.